What's going on, JT? Can you hear me? You see more. There should 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of odd to me. And it's 4. 4 prints. 1, 2, 3, 4. Somebody with 4 feet runs all over here. He's literally running around here in bare feet.
Like a 7-kilometer hike.
7-kilometer run. Look at that. That's him right there too. Boom. Going downhill. That's him. Who is this guy? I'm going to download my lives from today and stitch them all together. Is someone down there? There's something on the tracks there.
It was a 4-toed something.
It was a 4-toed something, was it?
4 toes remind me of like a dog, man.
What's going
But
on,
you know
bro?
what?
Not too much, man. Just got home from work, had some dinner, showered, jumped on the live with you.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just got my teeth ground.
What's up?
We got LZ in the background here. He's sitting here with
Twin
me.
Towers with us tonight, I see.
We know it.
I don't know if Dog Man
Fair enough.
Confessions is still in the room.
Slide of the
Julio, hey, how's it going, bro?
So it's going pretty good. Pretty good. I just got out of the dentist,
That's it.
so I'm a little numb.
A little numb. What
Yeah,
happened?
I can't feel my face.
He was just at the dentist.
Ah.
Yeah.
So, if hey, folks, who anybody hears this, this is Sasquatch.Confessions, LT. And the first one, actually, that's JT that waved to you, and LT is the one who's talking about his teeth. And I'm going to say hello to Squatch Gang and everyone else, and all those are involved with helping out and making this happen. Because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be having this live. We would not be having this live tonight, and we wouldn't be. I wouldn't have a computer. So
Hey, man.
I
That
wouldn't
was
have 100 pages into my book that I'm writing. So how's the audio? Can you hear me all right?
I can now. I had to turn off my unplug the fish
It's a
tank.
little bit quiet.
It is a little quiet.
Is it? Maybe I need to get closer to me. Is that any better?
No,
Is that any better?
that's better. You're like right up to it.
I know. No, this Yeti mic, you have to be in the right position, and I'm sitting differently tonight because my shoulders kill. So I got to turn my. So, anyways, JT agreed to come on here and share his story with his experience with our friend Sasquatch. And,
I did. You know,
so-
I came on, I don't know, that must have been about a year ago or so. And it was right after I seen the Sasquatch, but so much more has changed. So I thought I'd come on and share a little bit more and just kind of redo my journey with you guys, right?
yeah, man.
So
It's absolutely. So, I'm trying to think, is it okay if I share your email?
of course.
I'm just going to use as the follow by, because you said you want to go through this kind of chronologically here, right? About your experience. It says you're starting out in South. Well, first of all, I'll read the intro, and then we'll start with St. Louis County, Missouri call. It says here, back when I was still in addiction, I used to watch a lot of How to Hunt on YouTube. I was fascinated by his hunting stories. When he started reading Sasquatch emails, I was hooked. I'm just mentioning to let people know that Steve inspired me to start Sasquatch Confessions in 2020 after I had made the choice to get clean. First, a few years, I would spend my time doing TikTok lives and being a safe place for people to come and talk about their encounters without judgment or being ridiculed. Of course, me and Squatch Gang, would be going out investigating through these years, kind of undocumented times. And then it starts here with St. Louis County, Missouri call. What's that all about?
Well, it was basically, I'll just tell you what it was. Basically, what I wrote down there. Me and Ken SGBC and Sasquatch Seekers went out to Chipmunk Caves in Chilliwack, British Columbia one night. And we got down to the caves and we were at about just like at the mouth of the cave. And we decided to play the St. Louis County, Missouri call. And as soon as we played it, it was like something jumped out of the tree about, it was 20 or 30 feet away from us. It literally sounded like a fucking elephant jumping out of the tree. Boom. And then it was just like dead quiet, dead silence. The way it hit us all, we all were shocked, looked at each other. It hit us like a freaking shockwave, man. Like it went right through us. And we were just like,
was LT there at the time as well?
No, it was just me, Seekers, and Ken.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was. We got out of there pretty quickly after that.
I was in like a sleep apnea state and I was tired
Okay. I hear you.
that night.
I understand.
Remember.
I understand. Hey, so that's quite. I didn't know about that. So when you heard that thump, It just like it sounded like an elephant.
Dude, it was so heavy, man. The ground.
I'm just gonna say something too. Like our friend Ken, one time he was also up around where we live on top of a mountain. There's a cabin you can hike to, and he was up there with some girl drinking some beers or something. And at like middle of the night, the same thing happened to him up there.
Really?
Where something had jumped out of the tree, except for he heard it walk away. Boom, 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 boom. But like pretty much the same thing. That was like 10 years ago, 12 or longer.
So
yeah, something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And so once it thumped and it hit the ground, then it's brushed away. It took off, and it sounded like it was going through brush and all that pretty heavily. I mean,
when it happened at the caves, there was nothing. It was just like this, the loudest thud you could ever imagine, and it's just like, but it was just silence after, man, dead quiet.
Jump dimensions right there.
You know, it reminds me in my book I'm writing about the time I heard a giant being thrown into North 10 Mile Creek when I was doing some field investigating, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it sounded like a giant boulder was thrown into the water, right? Freaked me out. I ran into my car. Then I gathered myself and said, you know what? What am I doing? You know what I mean? I'm out here to have this encounter and have this experience. And this is after my first encounter. And I'm running into the car. And he dropped off. Hopefully he comes back. And so anyways, I go over there and I check it all out. And there's no sign of any giant boulder, but I heard a boulder. I 100% heard a boulder, though there's no sign of it at all. That there was actually a boulder there that was thrown. I mean, there's no disturbance of water, nothing of brush, whatever made that noise. It made it sound like it was there you go. So I was talking about my experience about I don't know if you heard that.
I heard it. I heard that.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what caused that? How could that happen? And it's interesting, you know, it's part of this interdimensional stuff that we're dealing with. So it's very fascinating to say the least. And that's my experience of a giant thud. I'll never forget it. It was quite shocking. So
no, it's something I'll never forget it as well. I'll always remember that one. It was
one of the first ones for you.
For sure. You know,
other than like that other weird stuff that happened with like gravel and shit.
Yeah,
you don't know what that was.
That was Sasquatch for sure. Yeah, one time I was out front having a cigarette, and I watched about 100 yards from me, maybe 70 yards. Something charged me in the gravel. Like I seen the footprints in the gravel, one after another, charging and running as fast as they could, and then they skidded in the ground like stopping on ice, you know, and sliding.
Uh-huh.
That happened, like it stopped about 1 inch from my toes. Like it came right up to me. That was another thing that happened earlier on in the days, back before I had started Sasquatch.Confessions.
There's lots of things.
Weird things that have happened in the past that I don't quite put together as my Sasquatch journey, but you know, there's been a lot of stuff for sure.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
In my book. Grandfather Stone and staff.
Okay. You want to know more about the Grandfather Stone? So basically, this happened a week before I had my Sasquatch encounter in 2022. My twin brother here, Lee LT, and Ken SG BC, they went out to put trail cameras up, look around for stuff, right? Sasquatch sign. Just walk around.
You can't be doing it for years.
They walk in, they pass this log. There was 5 stones on it. And they did their thing. They came back. They stopped at the log and had a little break there. And they noticed one of the rocks had some like markings on it. So they took pictures of it. And they come home. They showed me the pictures, and Like I right away, I was like, "That's something for sure. Why didn't you guys bring that home, right?" And I ended up talking to a buddy of mine from the Stateless reservation there, and he said that it's a symbol. The symbol on the stone is something they've been using for thousands of years. I believe it was called the halls, but there's actually many names for it in all the native cultures. It's just like the Great Transformer is what it is. But that's what it's called around here. And when I found that out, I went back out there to get the log or the rock stone 2 days later. When I got out there, there was 2 stones on the log, and then the staff like stick was leaning against the log. So I knew something, things had changed in a couple days. I thought that was pretty, significant. So I grabbed the stone and the stick and walked out. And as I was walking out, like I do have it on my YouTube channel somewhere where I'm walking out of there. You can literally hear them walking with me, like their footsteps, the footfalls. They're literally with me, right? So they basically escorted me out of there that day. Yeah, the story.
So these footprints, do they sound like heavy, light?
Kind of light, but you can hear them walking with me for sure. Like I can hear it totally.
So could you want to show us the stone again?
The stone is in my bedroom right now, and it's kind of like
Oh, go
put
get
away.
the stone, bro.
Okay, I'll go get
You
this.
gotta get the stone. Come on, man. Hey,
sorry to impose on you.
I mean, it will just probably look more like just a stone, right? Too, because there's all. I mean, you can see the markings, but the pictures he sent you probably show it better, anyways. But
well, we can do that too, can't we? We'll see if.
yeah, I mean, you'll see it on the stone. They're there. I was sitting on the log and I just looked down and I was like, hey, that's. And I was like, it's a little too heavy to be packing out.
So that's the symbol. Let me try this.
Well,
On that stone.
let me okay, first thing I need to set that, and then let's make that.
There you go.
No, that's the wrong one. This one. I think I need to get you.
You need better light on you, Jared?
No, I need to get you to. I need to. What am I doing wrong here?
I don't know, man.
Come on, O.R.D.
Okay. So we need to do something. I think. There we go. I got it. It's always a button. Damn it. It's always a damn button. Let's see if we can. There we go. So
That's the symbol.
That looks like an axe almost. Or is that?
Something like that. It's what I said, right? I'm like, do you guys have any symbols like an X? And he goes right away. He's like, yes, like that's something they've been using forever, right? And yeah, no, it's pretty freaking.
I want to talk about the stone after you're done.
This is like a woman here. It's hard for me to hold it. It's all backwards. She's standing up there. And then there's a man that was a man at one point. So we have the symbol and man and woman on the stone, which is basically the story of transformation from spirit to physical, is what I've been told. So it's a story of transformation on stone.
Well, what me and my friend seen.
No, man. No. Leave that out, you guy. Come on, man. He's just joking around.
Well, I'm not. That's exactly what Ken said. But can't see
So
it.
if we go back here,
No.
That's when I found actually found
so
it
this
the
is a
day
better,
I
like you
did.
said, this is a better picture of the stone.
And there's the staff right there leaning against the log too. That's the day I found it. See, there's the stone, and that's a woman. She's standing sideways right there.
Do they want to see the staff?
He's got pictures. And, you know,
I find that fascinating. So the staff, I believe, is this one right here. This is the
yeah.
staff. Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's,
There's more to it, though.
well,
Weird counter.
well, that's afterwards, right? Like,
Coming up.
it's coming
The
up
good
here,
part's coming
guys.
up.
The sighting part now, a week later, when I seen the Sasquatch, it was September 24th, 2022. Me and Sasquatch seekers decided to go out fishing at the Shayless River, to see if we could catch some coho. And it was a super hot day. I was sweating like crazy, man. Like I was in my shorts only. I had no shirt on. I was just sweating, man. It was super hot out. So we end up walking down from the bridge about a kilometer down the river, and we're fishing away, doing our thing, just enjoying the day. I turned around and I noticed this figure standing at the edge of the forest, and I'm just watching, right? Staring, watching it. And it starts walking out, and the first thing that I noticed was the size of the space between its legs was so big. Like, in the distance I seen it in is pretty far away. Like,
Football field.
It's far away.
It's big.
And it was so big, like the spaces between the legs, it was just crazy. And then I noticed like its head to toe in brown, thinking, what kind of freaking guy is going to be out here on this day where I can barely have a pair of shorts on? I'm so hot, being covered in head to toe in brown, anyways. So it continues walking out. It also had a staff in its hand. It had a stick just like that it left behind of the log for.
And it's a deep moving spot of the river.
Yeah. No, it came out and it stopped right by this big stump, and it turned around and looked at me and Seekers. And I just sat there, looked at it, and she turned away and started walking back through the river. Not back, but going forwards through the river, like she through my vision, right? She continued on, and we went down there later on to see if we could get down to that area. And we did end up finding some weird prints. I'm not sure what they were. I used to think it was like baby Sasquatch, but I'm not sure what it was. But the water was rushing really fast. Like we couldn't even walk through it. So the Sasquatch walked right through it. Later on that year, we had made our way down to that stump, and that stump was 6 feet tall. The Sasquatch was double the height of the stump, so it was easily, I'd say, 11 to 12 feet tall.
Are we talking about which sighting is this? The one we just had?
No, this was in 2022.
2022. Okay. So this is where we're at right now. We're talking about this. So, and you've gone back there, and that stump was how feet tall? 6?
6 feet tall. Is as tall as me.
Isn't it interesting? There's so many times they're seen next to stumps. What's up with that?
It stopped at
the stump. Literally, it came walking out from the forest line through. Then it's a rock beach, like a cobblestone beach, and it just stopped in the middle, right by the river. There's this big stump where the river runs through the rocks, and it stopped there, turned like it was a wide open rock field, like there was no trees where it was standing. It just came walking out of the forest through the rock field, stopped at the stump, turned around and looked at me, turned back, and then walked through the river and out of my sight towards. It was going towards the reservation.
Right. It's so interesting. So
They've been seen over there many times too, because on the other side of the river, there's like the. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a Stehalis building. I'm not sure what goes on there, but they have like a cafe there as well for people. But if you walk down the dike towards the mouth of the Harrison, I went down there about a month ago, and I ran into a buddy Dale, and he told me that the Sasquatch had been seen there like last year there, and like a few months later, like multiple times right there. So I mean, it's the area, right? They're in there. It's right there. Jason, what's up, bro? Man, where you been, man? Jason's in the room.
how's it going, Jason? Jason,
Brother. I should have my Sasquatch beads on since you guys can see this. You know, I gotta rock the beads.
So how long was the sighting for there when the time you got there to the stump? I mean, did you still see him?
Well, it crossed about, I'd say about 200 yards in like 10 seconds, but it stopped and looked at me for about 3 seconds.
It's a big stretch of open area.
It's a big area. It's like easily half a football field in distance. Like not from where I seen it, but where it crossed.
If not, yeah.
If not bigger, you know, it was about 7 seconds, and it also walked through the river. So I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Cool
would say,
segment.
you know, it's interesting that my
Like
first
I at the time when it happened too, like, you know, people have these encounters with Sasquatch, and they some people get freaked out. I mean, it was like the best fucking day ever, man. It literally was a great day.
So for me, my first sighting was something similar, right? And it was near a body wire, the creek, 10 Mile Creek. It was on the other side of the creek. It's in my book as well. I'm going to talk about that. And how it lasted a count of, and it traveled at least 100 yards. 1, 2, 3. And then it was to the other side. Of course, there was a wooden bridge there. And so wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So it pretty much disappeared into the foliage or the undergrowth, you know, as a source for that. But I find that interesting that so many times people have their first encounter something brief, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just enough to know that they exist, but not. And isn't it interesting that a few seconds is enough to transform your life like that?
Mm-hmm. Totally, man. I mean, I call them the soul activation moments, right? When you have these encounters or experiences with, whether it be Sasquatch, freaking ETs, interdimensionals,
Paranormals.
elementals, paranormal, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so even you realize
It's all mind opening, right? It's all opening your mind, right? It's going to make you think different, see different, feel different.
I got gifted another marble there, O.R.D.
What's that?
I got gifted a marble.
You did?
You did
3 times in my life.
Yeah.
They're all the exact same marble. And like this just happened on Saturday. Well, like I'll just quickly say 12 years ago I was crossing a river with rapids, looked down, seen this little white rock, I thought, picked it up. It was a little fucking marble. And I was like, oh cool. So I kept it. Then last year I went to a different fishing spot of mine where like not many people go. Jumped out of my truck, and right at my feet, probably a quarter buried, was one of these marbles. Picked it up. Then yesterday or Saturday, me and Ken were up in Chehalis Mountain, 21K up, fucking in the middle of the forest. Ken walking along. I was taking a picture of a mushroom, and I stood up and started going towards Ken, and I looked down, boom, marble, and I picked it up. And I'm like, Ken's got it on video. I'm like, get over here, man, get over here. This is weird.
It might be a good idea to see what LT looks like.
Do you want to see LT?
You know what I look like, man. I look just like the guy that's on the camera, but
I know what LT looks like.
a,
But
a little better looking.
that's not much better.
No.
So,
Whatever, ORD.
So
I thought
interesting.
you were
Not much.
So no, I'm just I give you shit. So so you're getting gifted. What's up with marbles then? How's come there's so many people get gifted with marbles? And it seems
I don't know.
It seems to
There's
be
something to do with the marbles, man. I don't know.
There's things where I've read online where it says like it's just like to let you know that something's guiding you or helping you or with you, and like you're right on the right path.
That's what Sasquatch literally does. If you look at this, like the meaning behind the Sabe and the
I'll show you
Sasquatch,
a
that's
picture
what
on
they
the
do.
camera of the marble here.
They guide you into the right direction.
You just go through there.
so you guys see it as a positive thing, not a negative thing. So some people, I
Oh,
guess it
man.
all depends on who you are and where you're at in life, I guess. But these things, marbles. Mike Patterson talks about marbles. A lot of encounters.
So many people.
And and they just show up out of nowhere.
See that?
I see it.
And then that's the 3 of them I have now.
They're all the same.
And they're all the same. And they're a strange color too. It's like they're what are they made
It's
of?
like a white color.
A bluish white.
No, they're like
They're
white.
pretty white.
Okay, that's
But-
just white ones.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. That was
Since you're
cool.
finding out about my connection, because we're kind of talking about that right now. Do you want?
Yeah, I'll explain. It was not long after the encounter in 2022. I was doing my thing regularly, doing TikTok lives, talking to people, and a woman came in and was like, "I have a message for you," and I jokingly around laughing. I'd say, "Who's the message for? Who's the message from?" or something, right? And she says, Sarah Raya wants you to know that your Sasquatch wants you to know that she walks with you and she guides you. And as soon as I read those words, I had this giant hand like palm my head where I could feel these 4 fingers like go all across my forehead. I could feel this palm and this gigantic thumb running down the back of my neck. And it was just this huge hand. Like I'm sitting right here in my living room, right? And it starts to squeeze my head. And, right then I knew like something was happening, right? Like this is really happening, right? So it was the craziest feeling, man. The way I can describe it is like a pins and needles, like an electrical pins and needles, vibrational sensation. You have to get it to know, like you have to have. I can't really describe it. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
You're broke.
You were. Oh wait, you could say that. You could say that.
Fucking G-rated live.
Yes, it is.
G-rated live, sure it is. Fucking is not. Anyways.
Wow. The dude in the house.
So this that's another
Question. Has Len tuned in at all?
No, not yet.
Okay, just curious.
I think it was told to do it at I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So it seems to be a lot of this tactile thing that happens too, where people interact with Sasquatch and it's like they have like sensation of being touched, but they can't see anything.
Oh
They
yeah.
feel it. Isn't that interesting? It also happens in all other encounters as well.
Mhm.
And so, it begs the question, what are we dealing with?
We know what we're dealing with here.
Well, yeah, we call them
Ultra.
ultra dimensionals,
That's
and
right.
we're dealing with something that it cannot be easily fit into the parameters that religion has offered us, and a whole bunch of other people have offered us. We're dealing with something that's beyond our full comprehension at this point.
For a lot of people, for sure, man. They just don't. They won't get it. Some people will never forget it, right?
So we got this.
That's for later on in the story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. In the story, in my experience here, basically, I'm just going to tell you here now about an incident that happened to me and James. You know, me and James had the Sasquatch encounter when we were fishing, right? And I know we were fishing at we call it Suicide Creek, right around here. It's the locals call it, and we were just walking around the creek. This area has had many Sasquatch encounters over the years. Like,
I know, dude, the same one there.
yeah, a lot of people have seen Sasquatch on this little creek system, and we were fishing, and we were probably about 20 feet away from each other, like standing on the same side of the river, and we're fishing away, doing our thing, and all of a sudden we hear this loud, like, guttural freaking huff or grunt. It came out of thin air, and it was literally right between us, like, 10 feet away from me, 10 feet away from James. We both freaking looked at each other right away, like, confused, right? Like, what the frick? Like, I'm like, was that you, man? He's like, no. Like,
moving in the.
it is. Like, this is another little experience that happened later on. Lee was off on the other side, and this branch just started moving like crazy. Like, he was doing something over there, talking to the Sasquatch, offering with him,
And then I was being a dork, walking like
he was doing the patty walk, like joking around.
I seen Jared was filming me, so I started walking like a squatch, and I threw in the middle finger.
It was fun.
But right when I started walking there, and behind me there's a bush. It clearly moved, jerked.
And it like did it for me almost, because like in a way it's like I zoomed right up in on this spot.
I didn't know what
I was filming, and then all of a sudden I zoom in, and it goes to a spot, and the branches starts going like this, like shaking around. I mean, I thought that was interesting, but the grunt thing, that was, something to, I think it was for James, right? I think it was for James or Seekers, Sasquatch Seekers. Later on that summer, the next summer, me and Lee, that's where we actually tracked the Sasquatch, the four-toed Sasquatch, and seen the Sasquatch there as well. That's right there. So this area has them. They're there, regularly, I'd say.
I don't know if everybody knows, but after we tracked that squatch, I talked to my friend that lives like right there at the creek. There's a fish hatchery. He lives right beside it. So like the next day we went back out there and shit, me and Jared, and then like whatever, we checked it out again. It was cool and shit. And I get back and I go, hey man, I messaged him. I said, I tracked this thing for like 7 kilometers, man, around the creek, the trail. And he's like, oh, weird. What was it? I showed him the footprint. He's like, that's fucking weird. And then he's like, the last few nights I've been hearing weird noises at night out here. I'm like, oh yeah, like what? And he's like, sounds like a moose. But we don't have moose where we live. I don't, like, not for hours away.
Yeah.
And I mean, clearly we tracked that thing, and it was on the tracks running away from us. And then like the next week too, the music coming out of thin air, man, like that was really cool to me, because like
there's a song, Can you play it right now?
Sasquatch song?
Yeah. Lee's gonna play a song right now. This is all the same area, right? And like maybe a 10-kilometer radius. If like going up the mountain is where we heard the music, but like the sightings all happen really, really close to each other. This song here, just listen to this.
It's a long start. Right there, that verse.
Like
I
that.
swear to God, that's what I was hearing in the bush coming out of thin air.
That song is like thousands of years old. It is the Stehalis Sasquatch song. They're a Sasquatch nation, right? And me and Lee were up in the mountains. We're walking around, and we hear this humming melodic melody coming out of what looked to be a dead old tree.
Now, here's the weirdest part, though, because a few days before that, the Friday before on that weekend, we were at Chehalis River at nighttime, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and we're out there hanging out, listening to that song. And then me and Jared went for a hike the next morning, and or 2 days later or something, I can't remember. And we get into the bush, man, and we drive all the way up past to this gate, and there's nobody out there. There was one car way far away from us. There's no way that they were playing music and we could hear it.
No.
And we get off onto the trail, and we're like 100 feet on the trail, and I'm like, what the fuck?
We're both hearing it.
I'm like, what the hell is that noise? To myself thinking this, right? And I'm listening to it, and it's getting a little bit louder and a little bit louder, and I can hear it clearly. I'm like, what the hell? And I look at Jared, and I'm like, do you hear that? And he's like, yeah. Oh, oh. And at first, I'm like, is that a quad? Like driving up the mountain road? And whatever, it stopped shortly after that. But then, like, we were down at the bottom of the river now. It's a steep ass, huge hill. And we're down there, and then a quad did come driving up. Like, this is about 25 minutes later or so. And you could clearly hear the
loud
quad. Wah, 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 wah. Like, it was quite something.
I have it on video somewhere. It's on my YouTube channel. You guys might be able to hear it because it's very faint, but Lee will play it.
If you listen to it on like your TV or something, you can hear it.
Check my Sasquatch.Confessions YouTube channel out. Anybody watching out there, if anyone's watching.
Is it short?
There was a short of it. Yes, there was. It's called like something music, Sasquatch music.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it came out of it was literally coming out of this giant dead freaking tree, man.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. If I'm telling everybody, of course it's coming out of the tree. That's interesting you're saying that. So I had my a couple of local experiences, and I wanted to I can put my book, and it's me and my neighbor lives next to me. We ironically, synchronicity again, and how they work out things. We're both taking garbage out at the same time to the same, because we live in the same quadplex, and as we're talking, we heard samurai chatter along the railroad tracks on the other side of the house that's next to us. And I hear it. She hears it. She goes, I go, did you hear that? And she goes, yeah. And I won't talk more about my situation because it's not about me. But what I find interesting is that they give bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they don't give they don't give up the whole show for some reason.
Yeah, man.
Sasquatch gifted us music.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Where's your speaker, Jared? On the bottom?
Right here, yeah. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. It might not work because he's playing it through his phone, but this is the Sasquatch music.
So that sounds that you're talking about?
It's gotta be. I don't hear any engines. It's weird.
Like rattling.
Pardon? Yeah.
I don't know if anybody in the comments, if you could hear that little humming, like the.
Did you hear it, O.R.D?
No, I heard something kind of like rattling, but I didn't hear it. No, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. You gotta watch it on the YouTube channel to really hear it well. Like we're playing it through another cell phone.
Oh, it's so I can once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Yeah, no, it's this melodic humming, and it literally sounds just like the Sasquatch song.
That's cool. That's very cool. Interesting. So you guys have two experiences you share together.
We always have experiences together.
Uh,
Man, it's so loud. You got to check it out, guys.
Right before he says the waters, you can really hear it. It's like,
Yeah, it's something else, man.
so well, that sounds very interesting. That's for sure. And coming out of the tree, and you both heard it. So it's just like,
well, Jared thinks it was coming out of the tree. I don't know where it was coming out of myself. I just know it was coming.
I was right there.
It was coming out of thin air, and I could hear it really well. And I was like quite a ways away from Jared.
Yeah, easily 80 feet away.
Yeah, at least.
So
what about this? You said, let's go back to your
the next thing we're talking about is
triggered memory.
Triggered memory. Now, this is a few months after the sighting in 2022. I forget what triggered the memory, but something came back to me where it's like a memory came back to me, right? And then my parents their friends were building a house in the back of Mission here. It's in the middle of nowhere, right? Like it's forest, it's in the mountains, it's not around anything. And there was like this little stream or creek running through the property, and it went into the forest, and it was like this little swampy section where the skunk cabbage would grow. And I'm sitting there playing in the skunk cabbage. I'm squatted down. I'm just playing around, and across the little swamp area, it's probably about 10 feet away, there's this black being, and he's covered in hair, and it's sitting there doing exactly what I do. Like it mimics every movement I do. It's squatting as I pick up the skunk cabbage. It's doing the same thing. It's like mirroring my movement. And then I hear my parents call me, like I hear my name being called, and I just turn like this, and when I look back, the Sasquatch or whatever was gone, right? It was definitely, it would be a juvenile, if anything, because it was very short. It was probably maybe 5 feet tall. So that's, my memory, like my 8-year-old mind, I seen it as a bear, right? Like I didn't realize it was a Sasquatch until, maybe having them connect with me, or, after the sighting and them connecting with me, they're giving me back this memory of interacting with me when I was a child. And it's funny because I was about 8 years old, and I've said this many times, like, many people who have and are connected with Sasquatch have had encounters when they're 8 years old or around that time. I've noticed that with so many people. So I don't know, take it for what that's worth, but it's something, right? It's a connection. This guy's trying to get in here.
I'm trying to get in here. See you later, O.R.D. I gotta go.
See you, bro. It's good talking to you. Thanks for joining us.
LP's out.
So, yeah, that's what I hear a lot as well. People have young encounters. Like, I wonder if the past right regression, it's like a hypnosis.
Oh man, I've always thought I'd like to try that, but at the same time, it's like I don't think I could be hypnotized. or like, be put in that zone or whatever, right? Like, I'm like, I ain't gonna go waste a bunch of money.
Well, some people are pretty good at it. I can tell you that. They can put you in a trance real easily.
Yeah, I'd like to. It would be something to try, though. That's for sure. I think it'd be cool to do. Definitely. Always wanted to.
Connecting the Squatch gang and elementals.
Okay. Well, basically, I sent you a bunch of pictures of like some elementals and Sasquatch stuff. We can show that stuff, or I can tell my story about the connecting with the Squatch gang through the elements, right? So
Yeah, well, I can play this quick JT's Elementals. It's just a video of, yo. Cool, guys. Can you see anything? Screenshot it. Yo. Cool, guys. Can you see anything? Screenshot it.
black area, there's an elemental, and above that, there's a Sasquatch. He's staring right at us. This was from a video that I made in Chehalis, wandering around in the lower area. And this is from actually one of my videos I made. One of my people here on YouTube screenshot this and sent it into me. And the Sasquatch was probably at least, it had to be about 50, 60 feet away from us. But if you look back in the picture where it's zoomed out, it's easily 12 feet tall.
Right. I'm surprised you guys, you don't use any of the images that we did, the show we did last time. I mean, that image of that dogman is awesome. And that,
see O.R.D.
the old hag one.
There's so many things in my journey that I can't recall on all the time, right? Right. There's so many things, man.
Well, I'm not going to
like for instance,
you're not forgiven. I'm just kidding. Yeah, just kidding.
Oh man, there's so many things, man. When I think about this, another really cool thing that happened when I was in the same area. Now that we mentioned this, I was in the same area where the Dogman clan was filmed. The exact same area.
Right.
I'm walking through there. Me and Mimi were going for a walk, and he had to crouch down underneath this this fallen tree, and there was kind of like a little tunnel, right? We walked through it. On our way back through, about 20 minutes later, there's a huge Y glyph right in the middle of the trail laying there. I mean, that was another cool little thing that happened recently.
So what do you think the Y cliffs is about?
Well, I've been told the Sasquatch, the Y glyph is like Sasquatch human together. Like it means like Sasquatch and man together, like friends. And the little X glyphs are like friendship, welcome. So that's a tree break out in Chehalis there. It's like a twist. We're walking down out by the river one day, me and my twin.
Look at this huge twist tree break right across the trail. This place is
How tall? Oh, for that.
land of the tree breaks.
Land of the tree breaks. I like that. So, how tall is that?
I think it was about 9 feet.
So yeah, so, I've seen tree breaks. A couple that I definitively know for certain. I found one that was really bizarre. It was really close to civilization, extremely close. It was next to gazebo, next to the stream, and across the stream there is a bridge, and then this is the same location, by the way. They had my very first sighting, but things have changed because they built like apartment complex there. And so, but anyways, there's a tree break and a twist, and it was high, and there was like, even if that was a person that would break that, they would have to be extremely tall, first of all, and secondly, they would have to have a desire to twist that branch the way it did. So I think that's something that something to pay for people to pay attention to is if you see a tree break like that and
Twist tree break right
twist, that's the thing.
across the trail.
That really is, the twist is a kind of a giveaway that we're dealing with something that's not a human being. It person had to go out of its way, jump on that tree, and then snap it. And most likely, if it was a person doing that, it would not have broken the location that it broke. So that's my speculation, I guess.
This is land of the tree breaks.
So this video was actually filmed in a place that we call Tree Break Alley. And one area on the road going up to this little road here that we call Tree Break Alley, there's like tree breaks going all up the road, man, the whole way, boom, 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 for a good kilometer or two. And then this little section that we walk down, every tree is broken over the thing like this the whole way. It's crazy, man. There was like trees bent over and pinned by like 20-foot tall fucking tree breaks that were like, you'd have to be like 20 feet tall to even make that happen.
So the odds of a moose doing are pretty slim, huh?
No, yeah, no, it's the thing too. 2 weeks before I came to this area, my buddy was up there driving around, Sasquatch Seeker's younger brother, who was driving up there with his old lady in their Cherokee, and they're driving, and all of a sudden a freaking log gets thrown from the I can't remember if it was the right or left, but it came out of the forest and smoked their Cherokee. They stopped and looked for the log, but it was gone. They couldn't find it. But he's seen it literally in the rear view or the side mirror, just come flying from the bush and hit them. That there is a footprint casting that happened back in the early days of Sasquatch Confessions, right when I first started it.
Sorry for this. I'm listening to you.
That's from Lee and Ken. Actually, they were driving up Chehalis Service Mountain Road, and the first thing that caught their eye was this big stump. It had two saplings or whatever, like small trees like that thick, growing out of the top of the stump, and at right about 15 feet in the air, double tree break. And they're driving down the road, and that catches their eye. They're like, "Oh, what the hell!" Right? So they end up walking down the bank and into the forest, and they get down there and they notice the tree breaks they're like 15 feet up in the air. There's nothing around that could hit them to make them break. About, I don't know, I forget what it was, maybe 60, 70 feet away, there's a little creek. Now, if you can go back to the picture where it shows this footprint in the water where it was casted, you can see it's a double footprint stomp. See that double heel stomp down? You see what I'm saying?
This is the first one, and then there's another
Yeah.
one.
Yes. So in the casting that we have, it's sitting right here too, but I can't really show that. It's hard. It would be hard to show on this camera angle. But the casting, the creek was running right through the print, so they managed to get something out of it, right? And you can see the big toe, like super clear, like it's clearly a big toe, and you
Okay.
can see where it had double stomped down in the front. It's, you know, it was a little muddier, but it's a to me it's a great find, man. It was a great print. It's not the clearest, but like look at the picture, you can see the stomp, man. That picture there was the tree break that caught their eye. If you can zoom in on that one. Yeah, that's about 15 feet up in the air.
Is this tree going? Is this a tree in front of it, or is that a tree
That's a big stump. It's a
in
big
front of it?
stump. No, it's not in front of it. Those trees are growing out of the stump.
They are.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. And look at them. It looks like somebody they broke them. Somebody went in there and decided to break it, which should be
Yeah.
really. But you don't have any moose in that area, right?
No.
Just people know, so it can't be a moose. How high do you think that is?
Like they said, it was 15 feet easily.
So what the hell can do that? A human being would do that, really? I mean, if somebody really bored, I guess they could really go all the way. You never know. I mean, after what we discovered last night, I rediscovered, I guess, with characters like Sonny Vader, who the hell knows? But to me, if what you're saying is true, which I trust you, then that can't be a human being that did that. So
No. And at the time, like right now, in this area, it's all grown in now. But at the time, it wasn't even that grown in. There was nothing around that could have fallen on those trees to break them. Like nothing in the area. And then the double foot stomp, like 60 or 70 feet away, right? Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious we have Sasquatch activity here, I'd say.
that is very awesome, man.
So I'm gonna talk now a little bit about the connecting the Squatch gang.
Okay.
One of our walks, it had probably been like 5 months since the sighting. One of our walks out in the Chehalis River area, we do this big loop where the gifting log is, and me and Seekers went in that day, and we passed the log on the way in. My quartz rock was sitting in the middle of the log. We did our loop. It's about 4 kilometers. We go in, do this huge loop, come back out this way. And as I'm approaching the log, I'm probably about 100 yards away. And I'm walking through this, like, cobblestone, kind of like the stones that I have, right? They kind of look like that. Now, I'm walking through there, and there's this black, like, volcanic looking rock, and it's smashed in half. Half of it is like broken and smashed into shards. And I don't know, like Sasquatch did it. They made me grab the rocks. Like it was like an instant reaction. I just grabbed them and shammed them in my pocket. I didn't even know like it's just like instantly. It wasn't done by me. Like it was done by me, but it wasn't done by me. So I'm getting up to the log now. I'm getting closer, and I can see that the rock, when we came in, it was in the middle of the log. When I was getting closer, I could see the rock had moved to the one side of the log. And I I'm getting kind of like, oh, cool. Things literally changed on our walk here. Like, like the stone moved from one part of the log to the other side of the log. And I get closer, and I notice that it's a completely different rock. They had switched out a rock. For my quartz rock, they gave me like this pink rock. So right away, I knew like these rocks that I just picked up, I had to leave something for the Sasquatch, right? So I pull out the shards from my pocket, and I look down, and there's 5 shards, and they all fit together like a puzzle piece. Now, I see there's 5, so I lay one down for the Sasquatch. And I instantly know, like, it just comes to me, like, this is what I have to do, right? Like, one for me, one for my brother, one for Sasquatch Seekers, one for Ken STBC, the Squatch Gang, and one for Sasquatch. And it was like, I don't know, it's probably been about a week or two, and I go back there, and the rock is gone. They took the rock, of course. And that was their way of connecting us to them, to the area. That's those pictures are from just like from Google, of course. Those ones are just like representation of the portal me and my brother seen one day.
Isn't that interesting? They have that design there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you feel that represents a portal, right? Or a spiritual location, something like that, something that's happened.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it looked like, bro. When I seen the portal, it was like this giant spinning cyclone looking thing, but it was translucent. I could see the trees behind it. And it was probably about 15 feet in diameter, just spinning, and then it just closed in on itself to a little dot.
It's interesting. If any of these like artifacts that are coming out of Peru and Mexico are legit, which I'm suspect about that because they seem to have incorporated all the mythology of all the worlds. But let's just say it is true and it is a location. One of the things they keep on or there's rumors of at least, is that these temples underground and like parts of Peru and all that show a lot of what look like orbs.
Mm-hmm.
And also portals. So
yeah. So the next thing I was going to talk about was actually the portal. It's in there. And then I was also talking about, you are one of the people I was talking about. Like, people see these beings come in and out of trees. You've seen it yourself.
I've seen them in a portal as well.
I know people have seen them.
I don't know if they were
walk through
Bigfoot,
stone walls, man. They go right through the stone like it's nothing. They use these as their doorways, I believe, to travel through our world, right? And these swirling blurs that I seen, those are they're like how they come and go from our world to theirs, even though they're the same, right? They are one and the same. But like the portals they use to go from one to the next, and the elements they use to travel through our world, I believe.
Well, yeah, it was something going on. I mean, I filmed Portal. We got a great image of it, and I've filmed a ton of entities coming out of it. This last fall or last spring, excuse me. What's up, Jimmy? How's it going, man? And I have filmed. I've seen a portal open up on 2022. So
Cool.
of all places, in my neighbor's front yard, and 3 very dark, red jet black entities in the form of a triangle were in it. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was in shock. And by the time I got a camera, it dissolved, disappeared, of course. And you're like, that's the way this Fortean journey goes, man. There's not much you can do about it. It's just accept that you're not. I mean, they're giving gifts, but you know what? I guess they only give so much. What should we do? So we talked about that. Random things.
I
We
have
talked, what about
hairs.
the hares and apples? You want to do that, or you want to do some random things more here?
No, that was it. Really, we were talking about the portals, and I mean, I was just gonna mention the portal that we've seen and how the Sasquatch move through the world, through the elements, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's bizarre, man. I know it's kind of, we talk all the time, so I know, like, I don't. It's like how to go about this. You know what I mean? Because when you talk to someone all the time, like you and I have, man, which is interesting. We didn't even know each other until the beginning of this year, and somehow we've been synchronized and become
Brothers.
brothers. So,
Yeah, we all got to know this too. That sweater he's wearing. Where'd you get that sweater?
I got it from you guys. I got it from the gang, Squatch
Yeah,
gang.
right. Squatch gang, baby.
It's, you
The
guys can't
Lord
see
of
it
Lord,
well.
baby.
You can't
Yeah,
see it, unfortunately, but
it's awesome.
it's not that. I'll be wearing it quite a bit this winter, especially when I do these lives in memory of the brotherhood,
Yes.
the gang.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about this hares and the apples. It was weird. One day we were out there in Harrison, the mountains of Harrison, there, West Harrison, Chehalis. And we go to an area here. We've been there many times. I found like fossils there, all sorts of cool stuff. We stopped to set up some trail cameras and like drop a couple apples, put one on the trail camera. We had a couple apples ourselves. We ate them. I was eating mine with a knife. I'm like cutting my apple, right? I ain't eating it. I'm looking at the apple. I'm cutting it. I'm eating it. I take about 3 chunks off the apple, and I'm looking at the apple. I take the chunk, I eat it, and I look back down at it, and there's only on like the part where there's flesh of the apple, you could see the hair, and it was just like squiggled, like in the weirdest way, only on the flesh of the apple, and it was just like instantly put there, right? Like I pull it off, and it's the weirdest hair I've ever seen, man. It was like probably 10 inches long, and it's got this wave to it. Every time I get a Sasquatch hair, they always look the same. They have this exact same wave to it.
Kind of like goat's hair.
And maybe, actually, yeah,
Yeah,
kind
well,
of.
goat's hair. Exactly. Like the story of Esau.
Esau, man, Esau. That's right. Now, the cool part about this, I mean, the hair is awesome. Like they're giving me stuff like that, but we come back to the area to get the trail camera. I don't know how long after we put the apple there, but it's probably a month or maybe 2 weeks or something like that. I can't remember exact time, but we get there, and the pictures on the camera, you can see the stump was about 5.5 feet tall, and it was about that round of a tree. Just a little stump standing there. We put the apple right on top of it. The trail camera was pointed right at it, maybe 10 feet away. The pictures on the camera, we see a cougar walking by, and the apple's still on the stump, right? Now, the next picture in the camera roll is the Squatch gang approaching the trail camera. That was 10 days later. So there's no picture of the apple disappearing. There's literally like our discarded apples and stuff, like the ones that we ate, the Sasquatch didn't touch. They only took the apples that were whole and not like eaten, right? And our discarded apples were still there. Like if it was an animal or something like that, they would have eaten our apple cores and they wouldn't have left that stuff behind, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's something very humanoid-like in behavior, right?
Yeah.
Something that if an animal would, well, if it was a mouse or a rat, that could do something kind of like that, but they'd be messy about it. So,
Oh man, it was we know what it was. The Sasquatch, they took the apple without leaving a picture. You know, they've done this to so many people over the years, man. Like you hear about it all the time, right? And that was the first time I got the hair. The second time I got a hair was a really weird, you know, to me it was very strange. It was in my bedroom, 10 o'clock at night, and
this is kind of funny story, actually.
yeah. Well, hey, I'm doing this one, so just bear with me, okay? Because if you're thinking about the other time, I'm leaving that hair out of my story because it's too weird.
Okay.
But this one was still very strange, right?
Okay.
I'm laying in bed. I'm watching Seinfeld. I turn on Netflix. I go to Seinfeld. I press play. My Roku player resets. Boom. It goes back to home screen. It resets. I'm like, what the frick? Go back to Netflix. Turn on Seinfeld. Boom. Again. I'm like, okay. So it ends up happening 5 more times in a row. The last time the Roku player turns off and it's dark in my room, I feel this tickle on my face. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I grab here and there's just hair. And I pull on the hair and it's literally weaved. Like, it's hard for me to do this, but it's weaved through my entire goatee. And as I pull it, it comes out of my goatee. It was like weaved into my face.
That's pretty bizarre, man. That's pretty wild.
Right away, I know, right? Right away, I know it's my people. They're my friends are here. They're giving me another hair, right? And again, these hairs, man. And at the time, I didn't have a woman around. I hadn't been with a woman or had a woman around for years. You know, I didn't have long hair ever, you know, in my anywhere, right? Like, so the hairs always, like I said, they always look the same. They got this weird wave to them, man. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah, that was this. That was the second time I was gifted hair. I was also gifted a third hair. But I'm not going to talk about that one because it's a very strange. I've talked about it on my TikTok live with people, but I'm just going to leave that out of this section. So I don't know.
2x is there now. Interesting. 2x is there now. Interesting.
Go to let's see here what we're working with here now.
Well, I'm just gonna shove that in there just to kind of.
Do you have the pictures of the hairs? I sent you pictures of the hairs too.
I do not have the pictures of the hairs. When did you send me the pictures of the hairs?
They're in there. They'll be under hairs and apples. Anyways, it's okay.
I don't have the hairs and apples. No.
Okay, so the next part here I'm going to talk about is asking for more. Okay. It's like the summer of 2023. Me and my twin brother, LT, we decide to go on a little hike in the back of Mission. And that day we split. We separated for about an hour and a half. We're off on our own doing our thing. And being guided by the Sasquatch, I get led to this toy phone I find in the middle of the forest. And it's, you know, I have it right here actually. Toy phone. Okay. I get led to the toy phone and I pick the phone up and I start asking the Sasquatch, or talking to them like, hey guys, joking around, right? Like, I'm just playing around. And I'm like, okay guys, I'm ready for more, right? I wasn't like asking for more. I was just kind of like, I'm ready for more experiences. And I was like, footprints, another sighting. And I said exact words, something like marbles. And I also asked for a good woman in my life.
It happened, didn't it? It happened.
Yeah, I never thought any of this stuff would happen, but it all happened within like 3 weeks. It was crazy, man. Craziness. So
Of hanging out with Bigfoot.
yeah, man.
Changed his life.
It's like it makes me think like, you know, they do these things like I said, it's they try to set you on the right path or guide you to the right path. And this has guided me to, you know, the right path, right? Like my woman, my everything that's happening, right? It's all for a reason, and it comes from the Sasquatch, man. It's awesome, man. I love it.
It's like, okay, so once again, this rock that they gave you,
Yeah,
it kind of like a guy and a gal, doesn't it?
it is. It's a man and a woman.
You think there's some kind of connection with everything there?
Well, see the marking.
No, I'm
Then
talking
we
about
have-
you and hooking up with an indigenous First Nation lady.
It's possible.
You think?
Well, it very well could be that on there as well, because I do see.
Well, no, I'm saying that there's a connection with all of it because of the synchronicity, this stuff. Once you start going down this path, you can't help but notice synchronicities. I mean, you could ignore it until somebody brings it up and says, hey, but isn't it kind of synchronistic? You get a rock that has a woman and a man on it, and then you end up hooking up with a gal because of all this.
Yeah, and I see it, man. I do see it. Yeah, it's, you know, I
It's
see
not-
what you're saying. I
It's
get
not
what
like you
you're saying.
met her in the local bar or at the post office. Now, all right?
No.
That's kind of cool, I would say. I hope it's part of your story, you know what I mean?
Oh, it is. It is. It's a huge part of my story.
There you go.
It's just getting started.
There's your new site. Just instead of just when you have Squatch Gang, you have Squatch matchmakers.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about getting what I asked for, right? Like I just talked about asking for more. It'd been a couple weeks since I'd found the toy phone. Me and Lee again decided this is when we tracked the Sasquatch, to the four-toed Sasquatch. So me and Lee got up at 5:30 in the morning. We decided to go for a hike up North Creek, Suicide Creek. That's what locals call it. And we were the first ones there. It was 5:30 in the morning. Like nobody had been there. We're walking up the trail. Lee was about, I don't know, 50 yards ahead of me. And I'm doing my thing, focusing on my videos, walking around doing my YouTube videos, right? For Sasquatch.Confessions. And I end up getting up this really steep incline where Lee's already up there. He'd been up there for a minute or two. So I get up to the top and I walk up to him. He's like, come check this out, right? Come look at this fucking footprint I found. And that's when we found the four-toed footprint. And I'm looking around for more, and you can see this spot where something was coming in our direction, like down the trail, and then it jumped and like landed in the dirt and turned and ran back up the other direction. So we end up fucking following this thing for about 7 kilometers in total. And Lee probably seen about 20 footprints. But like I didn't catch them all on film. I didn't take pictures of them all. But there were so many. We seen the signs everywhere. We're coming back down the mountain. There was two hikers coming up the trail, 2 women that were coming up the trail from the train bridge. We think the dog man or the Sasquatch, whatever this was, seen these women or heard them coming and veered off to the left, or it just veered off to the left, one or the other. But it ran down towards this old farm field and train crossing. And the main trail goes back to the train bridge. And Lee was still a little ahead of me. And he's walking to the train tracks, and he crosses the train tracks. He looks both ways. He doesn't see anything. I come walking out about 40 seconds behind him. He's already passed, out of sight of the Sasquatch. I come out onto the tracks. I look both ways. And when I look down towards the train crossing, I see this huge black figure running down the tracks, which goes to like the mountains, basically just around the corner, somewhere where you can escape to get out of there. The next morning we did go back there. We did a size comparison with Lee. He went down there. I took pictures of him. I was on my TikTok live too, right? They don't allow you to use the proper camera. Like my S23 Ultra has really good zoom on it, right? But if I would have jumped off my TikTok live, I would have zoomed right up in on this guy's face. Like that's, but it wasn't meant to be like that, right? Like there's the two options I say, like with this whole thing here, that either the Sasquatch seen my brother, turned in the opposite direction, ran away, and waited to see if he crossed the tracks and thought it was safe to make his runaway or make his getaway, or it was meant for me to see and not my brother. I mean, I've seen Sasquatch multiple times in my life now, and it's I don't know what it was, but it's one or the other for sure, I'd say. That was two things that I asked for: footprints and another sighting.
Which month which month did that happen?
I believe it was
July?
July. I think it was July.
So
it had to be July, yeah. It might have been the beginning of August, actually. It could have been the beginning of August.
I just, maybe it says something about my ability to predict, but I do remember in May saying that within a month you're going to have an encounter of some sort, and I guess this is the encounter that they decided to offer you up. So
I remember that, bro. I remember you saying that.
So I'm not saying I have anything involved.
We all do, man. We all have something to do with it. Every one of us. I believe that. And there's the four-toed print right there.
The four-toed print. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the shadowy dark figure that he saw. As usual, it seems to be an awful lot of that. This kind of, I don't want to say, well, that's what it is. It is. A lot of times they appear as shadows. That's the way it goes, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, people wanted to have a perfect image, a perfect silhouette, but it doesn't happen that way as far as filming it. Now, when you saw it, here's the thing about things that happen, I noticed. What you see and what you film are two different things. Because the lens has a different opticals. It's just the lens of our eyes that have a different optical.
We got like how many pixels in our eyes?
Right. And so you're not going to see things. And in fact, a lot of times
ain't nothing as good as these guys right here. Ain't nothing.
Right. It's the perfect example is when you film the moon. What you see with your eyes, it's quite clear and it's big, right? You put your cell phone to it, unless you zoom in on it, you're not going to get a detailed image of it. It's going to look like a small dot, right? Even though you and I can see it and it looks like a big dot in the sky, right? It's just the example of things. So,
okay, so let me continue my little thing here, my story here, my journey. With about a week later now, I'm at home cleaning up my house.
before you connect, I'm going to listen to you, but I got to walk away for a second. But I'm going to mute myself. But if I don't respond, don't worry. I'm listening. I'll be right back. It'll be about 2 minutes. Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna jump out for a second too, so I'll be right back.
Should we take a break?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, guys. What I'm going to do is play an intermission song about 5 minutes. Let's play
Sounds good,
my
brother.
intermission songs. I got to pee. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Or let's do this one.
Take a trip inside yourself. 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 Like thinking then take a trip. Take a trip inside yourself. Get a grip and take a ride. Take a trip inside yourself. Like thinking then take a trip. Find friends inside yourself. My advice to take a ride. Find them all inside yourself. Take a trip 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 inside yourself.
Right. I'm back.
Yo.
So thank you for the patience, everyone. If you are with us right now, where are we at with all this? Trying to keep up with things.
We are talking about what I asked for and getting what I asked for. That's what we were talking about. If you'd like me to just continue on, I can talk about that.
Oh, you know it. I'll listen to you all day long, bro.
Right. So it'd been about 2 weeks since I found the phone and we seen the footprints and the sighting. Another week goes by and I'm cleaning my house, just cleaning up, and everything's done, everything's put away, it's clean. I'm walking in my living room and I turn around, and in the middle of my living room floor there's 2 ball bearings that are, I sent you pictures of those. I don't know if you have those on hand.
I could probably not, but did you send me
Anyways, they're basically, they're
email?
big ball bearings, right? They're big ball bearings, like, they're about that big,
Okay.
So right away, I know it's from my friends, right? And it's funny because you hear about all these marble gifts from Sasquatch, right? And my exact words were something like marbles, and then I get 2 steel ball bearings.
Why not? It's how it works, man. I mean, you know what? If you get a chance, read Charles Fort's work. And the book of the damned. When I was talking to Brown Dwarf, I misspoke when I first in the show. I said the Book of the Dead. That's the wrong book. Although that's book too, especially the one from the Tibets, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. But the Book of the Damned is not what people think it is. And it is a great commentary. It's a whole list of all these weird events and strange happenings, these Fortean experiences. And, when you start to realize that we're dealing with something that's not, it's not rational. It's not. It's irrational. And that if you embrace that and accept that irrationality, along with synchronicity, you're going to end up having a much better experience with all this stuff, which you instinctively are doing anyways. And it had to take me a long time to figure that out myself. But why not? So you ask for something like marbles and they give you steel ball bearings. What the hell?
So yeah, no, it was that was another thing that I asked for, right? So that's 3 things that I asked for. Now, my woman who's just came into my life, Mimi,
Thanks to Sasquatch, by the way.
it's all Sasquatch. Sasquatch did
I'm
it
not
all.
making it up, man. I mean, the truth is, how did she discover you?
So
How did she discover
she
you?
came in my lives a couple times here and there.
And what's
Like
your live about?
Sasquatch, and we do speak about Sasquatch and the truth. Now she'd been in there a couple times, right? And some of the recent finds and stuff really got her attention, I guess. And we started talking more, and next thing you know, she was on her way to come see me here in British Columbia, all the way from Quebec.
Isn't that wild?
And
you guys
she's
are
been here ever since.
you're a couple all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And she goes out in the field with you too. That's how cool she is. She's willing to go out in the field with you.
Oh, she'll go fucking deep out there with me. She loves it.
You got a cool gal. I mean, it's it's a blessing, isn't it?
It is, man. Like I never thought I kind of gave up on love in a way, right? Like I didn't think I was ever gonna find a woman or even have that in my life, period. And it's like all I had to do is ask for it, and it just came.
Isn't that amazing?
But also, right, it has to do with where I am in my life right now, getting clean, changing my life. Like it all has to do with it, right? Like Sasquatch helped me with that as well, right? I was in I don't know, 15 years, 12 or 15 years of addiction. And it was a bad addiction, right? And they helped me get through all that stuff, right? And it all is led to this point so far. So very cool. I'm very happy. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. It's an amazing experience I've had here. And it's so wild too, because even a week later, I got confirmation, man. I got confirmation that she was the one. Like she's the one. From Sasquatch. Like another. It probably was about a month ago now, right before I went to Quebec. Me and the Squatch gang got together. Sasquatch Seekers, Ken SGBC, Dogman Confessions. It's my twin brother. He does that as a kind of joke.
Right.
But LT, the Squatch gang, right? We hadn't been together for quite a while. It'd been months since we got together, and like all 4 of us. So we ended up getting together and going out having a fire that night. And we're walking around the Chehalis River, having a fire, just having a good time. We're just relaxing, doing our thing. That night, we did actually catch 2 separate howls or calls that were coming up in the mountains of Chehalis Service Mountain Road. And they were
one of the videos that we have.
It isn't one of the videos we have. It is on my YouTube channel. If anybody wants to go and check it out, you can.
Does the video that we have mimic is the sound of the sex theme? Have you heard?
Basically, yeah. Play that. That's from Chehalis. I have multiple sounds from Chehalis that I sent you.
Okay, I compiled them into one video.
Cool.
Check this out.
What the fuck is that? What is that?
So it pierces right through you. Have you noticed that? I mean, when you listen to it carefully, it's like, wow, and then
Now
echoes. It goes
that's
right
that
through you.
sound has been heard. These exact same ones have been heard all over Canada, like Ontario. Forget the guy's name, something Blackstar. He originally posted it. It's identical being. I've heard them in all sorts of areas in British Columbia. There's another video that I couldn't find on my page that was from when the forest fires were going in. Another one just like that was just going, man. They're a lot of them make that. That's like, I don't know. Is it there? It sounds like it's like morning or like in. It's not a good scream, right?
No. Well, I don't know about that.
Anyways, let me continue with my story because I kind of just went off there. That night we did capture a couple howls, but me and Sasquatch Seekers ended up walking down a dried riverbed. We're doing our thing, and I come across this AI glyph. Okay. Now, my lady here, she came into my TikTok lives as Beta AI. So I'm walking around, I find this AI glyph, and I go, whoa, right? Like I know right away the Sasquatch are trying to tell me something about her. I don't know what until the next morning. So the very next morning, me and Mimi go out for a little walk, and we come to the exact same area. And I'm walking. I want to go check on that AI glyph that I found the night before. So I go walking up into that area. And when I get to where the AI is, it's gone. It's not there anymore. There's replaced with 2 X's. And
Should we play these videos?
yes,
Let's play the AI first. I double it up. I double these videos up because they're short. So
yeah.
Hey, what? AI. AI. That's cool. You guys see it? Hey, what? AI. AI. That's cool.
And the next
2 X's there now. Interesting. 2 X's there now. Interesting. 2 X's there now. Interesting.
same sticks as the A and the I. Those sticks were completely gone. They were nowhere around. I walked up and down that river channel looking for the AI glyph, and it was completely gone. Replaced with 2 little X's, one for her, one for me, which also means like friendship welcome for both of us, right? So at least that's what I've learned over the years here. Hearing things about glyphs, and it's funny because I follow this other guy and he talks about these things, and as soon as you start putting intention into these things and giving meanings to things, like the Sasquatch know you're trying, and they will start showing you. Like I literally just started doing this, and boom, the glyph started coming. Right?
Who's the guy you're talking about?
Yeah.
Who's the guy? Yeah.
What's this thing called? Sasquatch, a True Story, BC. Sasquatch, a True Story. His name is Brian Bland. He does the Pork and Beans show on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. He's I'd like to meet up with him. We're gonna meet up soon. We do have plans to. I just haven't done it. This Saturday, I'm meeting up with Jason Kenzie, who makes Searching for Sasquatch documentary things on Tubi and Amazon. So I'm meeting up with him this weekend, and I'm going to share my journey with him as well.
Cool. That's awesome, dude.
And after I do that, I'd like to meet up with Brian, though. And he's such a cool guy, man. He's such a cool dude. Yeah, it'd be really cool to meet up with that guy.
So
Yeah, man.
Your power and intention. I think you have a point to all this, and
oh yeah, no,
when you
big
focus
time.
on this stuff, that these things will start manifesting in your life. And here's the other thing too, and if you're not focusing on it too, they can still show up, because we have plenty of examples of people who weren't focusing on it, and all of a sudden it becomes a part of your life. So, but it does seem that once they know that it's up to you how you want to handle this. You want to turn this into a nightmare, or do you want it to turn into a blessing? I think it's really up to you, isn't it?
The game is on, baby. Once they know, the game is on.
Yeah, it is, and it is been a game, isn't it? It's not necessarily a bad thing. Some people might argue otherwise. In the time I did, but as time goes on, I realized that there's been a lot of good things that actually come from realizing and knowing that Sasquatch is real, and that the interdimensionals are real, and that
it opened your mind to a whole new world, man. Realistically, like, to think about going back, say, I don't know, because I've always my whole life known Sasquatch are real. I've never not believed that they were not real. But like, for certain people, man, it's just,
what do you think AI
they can't get it. They just won't get it. It's,
what do you think the AI stands for? Because it's funny that we automatically assume artificial intelligence.
The AI is directly for my lady, right? Like, that was a message for me to see. It was saying them showing me they know she's here, they know about her, they know. Like I said, I didn't know what it meant when I found it. I just knew it was something about her. And the next morning when I go back and I see the double X's, that's when I get confirmation that it's friendship welcome for both of us. One for her, one for me. The AI was gone.
Well, that's interesting that you took it that way, because other people would have taken it a different way.
Well, the only reason I took it that way is because she came into my TikTok lives as beta AI.
So here's the thing. The point, because so their language is not necessarily our language. So AI for us humans today until 2023.
The glyphs can mean 100%. The glyphs can mean a Y glyph can mean something for me and something for you, like differently. It has to do with the intentions you set too. So I'm setting the intention with this stuff, with this friendship welcome. This means that the Y glyph means man, Sasquatch together. We focus on that. The intention there, and I'm just, as soon as I started doing that, setting more intention to these things and giving them a meaning, that's when they start speaking to you more that way. They see you trying, right? They know we're trying. And yeah.
I hear you, bro. Well, my point I want to bring out is, so if our perspectives, like if you see X, as I just read, Messengers of Deceit, right? Or Messengers of Deception by Jacques Vallée, which I'll be posting, and anybody can endure my ability to communicate can listen to it. But here's the thing: in his book, he talks about how it double X, at least in espionage and occult circles, means double cross. To be double crossed, right? But obviously, that's not happening to you. You're not being double crossed. And then the other thing is AI. I mean, there's a town, a city in the Bible, for whatever it's worth, is named AI. So, I mean, you can't just assume just because it says AI that automatically means automatic. What is it again? what does AI mean again? I just lost it.
Artificial
Artificial
intelligence.
intelligence, right? And so, and here's the other thing: it could be something like you said, it's a positive thing, and it means something completely different to them, to us. And here's a possibility. I'm not saying it's so, but
You know,
what if
here's
what
another
they
thing.
mean? Hold on a second. What if what they mean is something positive, but the inner circles, the occultists, those who practice the dark arts, take those symbols and twist them around to convince us that when we see those things, that they're bad stuff instead of good stuff. So in other words, they're manipulating truth, because we know that law of reversal is being applied across the board in this realm by some pretty dark forces, and that's something it's not really disputable. After what we witnessed the past 3 years, if you doubt that, then you're not been paying attention at all, in anything for that matter. But what I'm saying is that AI and double X for what's happening with you obviously means something completely different to them, and maybe into the interdimensional. How do I say this? Because we are more than what we've been told, right? And
Oh yeah, for sure.
and that the spirit realm maybe has something completely different than what we've been told, and it's been hijacked by the forces that be at this day. So I find that interest regardless. It's almost like a challenge for a person like me when I see that AI and double X. Those got to be negative. But you know what? I'm coming out of something extremely negative to begin with, right? And my deconstruction process. So I have to learn it. Just because I learned this stuff from the internet or from the supposed experts doesn't mean I was taught the truth about anything, or the truth has been hijacked. So I just wanted to bring that because I think it's fascinating. An AI and a double X.
Replaced the AI too. Like,
Right.
now, another thing that just came to mind that morning when I went out to check on the AI glyph and found the double X's. Now, do you see this connection? I jump back on the main trail and I'm walking down the trail towards this beaver dam way down the way, and in the middle of the trail there were two root balls, like, pulled out of the ground. Small root balls this big with a little stalk coming off of it. Tiny little root ball, a round thing like that, with a stalk coming off. Two of them were pulled out of the ground, not right there. They were cleaned, like been beaten, the dirt had been beaten off of them, but they were placed directly in the middle of the trail. They weren't pulled in that area, but they were placed there. I just thought of that right now, that's another, one for her, one for me. Right? Like, it was the exact same morning we went out and I found the two X's. 10 minutes later, I find two of those root balls sitting in the middle of the trail.
Hey, Ken, how's it going?
Hey, Ken, what's up, brother? It's a Squatch Gang member right there, guys. Go follow Ken SGBC. Go follow Sasquatch Seekers. If anybody's watching. Anybody out there listening as well,
I'm going to
you guys can follow me on Facebook as well. Sasquatch.Confessions, TikTok, YouTube. We're everywhere.
So I am posting a link, and if anybody wants to join in the conversation, please just follow the link. StreamYard will pull you up. You can have a conversation with us as well. So don't be shy. If you have the capability, join the conversation. So. So so some very interesting experiences that you've been sharing with us, and it just certainly makes you think and question a lot of things. For me, me, I'm always asking questions. So, but the biggest thing is, what I was exposed to, knowing full well that these dark forces have deceived me, and our conversations. I mean, the reason why the name of my show is called Lord of O.R.D is because of this dude. The reason the other one's called the Fortean Digital Shamans, because we talked about digital shamanry, and that's what that's what we're doing right now, is to reconnect to our ancient past and who we really are. And I know that that was, some people find that, oh my gosh, how can you be that way? And I'm like, listen, all it doesn't have to be negative. It's up to you. It's choice. Not you.
Yeah.
Me.
Yes.
The reason why I have a computer is because this dude, because Sasquatch. Because I went 5 months from May to whenever I got this without a computer, right? I mean, and then what else happened? Oh, lots. The synchronicity is shocking. It's absolutely shocking. And I don't know where to go next with all this myself as far as the journey on my end of things. But
It's
one
not.
thing is I'm writing my book. So for those who are interested,
That's a part of it, man. That's a part of it.
I'm first 100 pages into the book. I don't know how long it's actually going to be. My hope and intention is that somehow I can either have the book that has the images I've been filming along with my story, or if we're going to have to do two separate things, a book and then I guess like some kind of PDF that the images go along with it, depending how it's most practical for publication, so that you guys can afford to hear my story and also seeing the images up close instead of in your hands. There's things to look for, because what I discovered is there's multiple different entities involved here, and there's multiple different spirits, and especially in the forest and around us. And just because they are freaky looking and something we don't like as far as what they look like, uh, doesn't mean that they're bad. And there's plenty of examples in nature of very strange looking creatures that don't do a dang thing to us except live their lives. So
I talk about shit. What was I gonna say now? I forget what I was gonna say.
that's me. I'm good at doing that. And I'm going off in that tangent and going somewhere in a direction. I mean, what's this? It says, I mean, let me see what I mean, can you obviously be, but I question some of the motives and actions. This is a fair statement, by the way, Julio. It is. And we can take a look at either end of the spectrum of encounters as well. And this is true as well. Absolutely, it's true. I think in the end of the day, though, I think a big part of it is how I think it's a form of spiritual initiation. And it's a determination of how you're going to respond to this stuff. Are you going to be totally freaked out and think the end of the world's happening, or all hell's breaking loose? Or are you going to embrace the stuff? And since I've been more positive about things, more positive things have happened.
I think either way, you're gonna get the same result. This mind opening. If you take it negatively, or because for the most part, we all know anybody who has a Sasquatch encounter and has a negative experience, they don't really have a negative experience. They see something they don't understand. They get scared. Sasquatch may walk with them, and you know what I mean, like escort them or like parallel them out of the forest. But it's not like they've been scared, or Sasquatch has ever been chasing these people and attacking them, or like. These little so-called negative experiences, they're not negative. Your mind is being opened. You're having one of these soul activation moments, and you may take it the wrong way.
Well, it could be actually they might need to, like with me, they had to scare the living hell out of me to slowly wake me up, right? Because that's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So I had some pretty. We know what very religious people would say. They would say, "Oh, that was all demonic," and I'm like looking back at it now. I'm like, I think it was actually meant to wake me up, because the things stopped. Like, and I write this in my story of my second encounter, in which eventually the harassment left me alone when I rose up myself, and instead of calling upon someone else's name or some other entity, I said no more, and they went away. There you go. So I think that reveals some kind of to me at least, some of the maybe possible inner power that we actually all possess, and maybe that's the reason why people have these times that are very disturbing negative experiences, because we're allowing it to happen. Now, I could be wrong about this, and there's part of the whole story is because it's a mixed bag. I don't, and in the end of the day, all I can really say is from one's own perspective and one's own.
Maybe
It's
see
a lot of people.
this comment here. This comment. I know people who have had Sasquatch encounters where they've literally thrown boulders by them. You know, but you got to think about this too, right? The Sasquatch is doing this. You could be in their area with their children where they need to get you out of there like now. But like if that Sasquatch, like my buddy had a literal basketball sized boulder thrown right by him, you know, and you know that Sasquatch, if it wanted to, it would have hit him and killed him. You know, this is what that person, what that soul, what that energy needed at that time to have this moment where he's being woken up. Where,
What if we're
like
more,
I said, it might even scare the freaking shit out of you.
and it might bring you back into reality a little bit because most of us are
Yes.
living a dream. If we're honest about it, our existence is a dream,
For sure, Julio.
and we're not very aware to the creation and the creator and things around us as much as we like to think we are. You know what I mean? And it's only so much that books and videos can do for you, or hanging out and chats and our groups. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I am saying that the inevitable thing that at least I've learned is that at some point you have to be willing to accept a greater reality. And if you are willing to do that, then maybe there's new things to be learned on top of that. Maybe that's where the real purpose of what some of us are still banging around here in this physical existence. But you know,
See now, this guy's Sasquatch used to eat people. No, I don't know, right? Like I know these Sasquatch that I speak about. I've been told by the people who are from the Sasquatch Nation, where the word originates from. They have told me that these spiritual transformers, these interdimensional type, these shape shifting, these Sasquatch do have a relative here. So that is in the physical, right? That is here.
well,
Like
here's the problem
the
too. Is that,
spiritual interdimensional type can be here in the physical as well. But this is coming from the people, the Sasquatch Nation, right? And this is what they say. So I just think is that, you know, because there's also many other native cultures throughout freaking North America where they do speak about these hairy beings as being a bad thing, or you know, they do have things that speak about. And I go, well, is that what they're speaking about? Are they talking about these other kind, this other type, this relative of the kind that I speak about? Is there, you know, I don't have a connection to those kind of Sasquatch. I don't know.
well,
But
maybe they're like people. There's good and bad, and just remember a
also,
couple of
yeah.
things. I don't know if is that who else is with us right now besides Prince. Thank you for sticking out, and Julia, I hope you're still around. Is the fact that people eat people. So for that argument alone, to say that Sasquatch eats people, let's remember people eat people. In fact, we did this about everything. So to make them out to be evil because of that, that's taken a little too far. And it might have happened, and I'm sure it has at some point, sometime. But the vast majority of experiences people have is more of just getting the shit scared out of you. Nothing else actually happens to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean,
In
right?
fact, I would say the first encounter I had, it was with the Sasquatch that's in my book, in which he actually probably rescued my butt for the person because I was hanging out with a pretty dark human being. I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And it could have been a few more things. So you just have to give it time and use your own judgment and experience about things, and depend on where you want to be. And you know, it's like you can stay in the darkness as much as you want. You can live in the fear and and dread, or you can say, "Oh, this is an awesome experience," and try to learn from it. And I think the biggest important thing is that this world, the universe, is a lot more dynamic and interesting than scientism or religion has offered, or your public fool system has offered you. That if you want to know a little bit more about the reality of things, you have to be willing to open your eyes and experience the dark night of the soul, and to go out into the wilderness and to tromp around them woods and not be afraid, and and maybe even appreciate the fact that you can even still do that.
Hmm.
But these scary moments that we've all had a lot. I mean, I've been filming some bizarre things in my backyard, and not just doors, but apparitions and stuff. And I'm like, well, what can I do about it? Either embrace it, act like an absolute, terror freak about it, call upon the name Jesus 5,000 times, expecting anything to happen, or I can just embrace the fact and say, you know what, this is part of the creation. It doesn't make them bad or good. It just is. You know what I mean? It's up to me how I determine how to relate with it. You know what I mean? I mean, and some of them might be as poisonous as a cobra, but that doesn't mean I have to play around with the cobra to know that they exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hope people understand where I'm coming from.
Oh, I do. For sure, dude.
I think you've done enough speaking Christian prejudice. Okay. I think I get where you're coming from, man. Yeah. It's part of the gig, man. In fact, it is for me at least. And I think that, you see, the thing is to come to terms with the fact that they do represent something ultra dimensional, something spiritual, something that's more than just the physical. And that,
they're literally the closest things to creator next to us. They may even be closer.
We look at the story of Prince Mike. Oh, Mike, not at you, bro. Okay, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I didn't think it was something negative, but the thing is, like Esau. Look at the story of Esau and Jacob with new eyes. Now that you know about the existence of Sasquatch, and read that story, and you'll see clearly that it's talking about a Sasquatch or something that's very similar to a Bigfoot or Sasquatch, and that it has, Esau has nothing to do with. In fact, those stories have been so twisted, but the truth is always hidden in there. If you just, but I think part of it's the maturation to be able to see something, to have the experiences, to know that what's really being said there. If you didn't know that Bigfoot was real, if you didn't know that it was actually about Sasquatch, you would think it was about the Muslims and Islam and the Jews, but it has nothing to do with that. So they hijacked that.
Funny because getting these things it's them showing me that they can give me things that I ask for, had me thinking the other day that maybe I should be like actually praying for and asking for like good things for the world, right? Because who knows, maybe that's just them showing me that they can do this stuff for me or with me, right? Like maybe I should be speaking with the Sasquatch about,
well,
a lot of the healing stuff that needs to go on in this world, right? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's your journey, man. You got to figure it out for yourself. I can't tell you. Just some, you know what I mean? I can just share.
Oh, I know you can't tell me. I'm just asking if you get what I'm saying.
Right. Sorry about that. I'm an old man. Yeah, I think that you have to look at the positives and what's happened. You know what I mean? And
when I think about it too, bro, like when I first started Sasquatch.Confessions, I had no idea this would ever fucking take place in my life. All this stuff that has happened, and then 2 years later, after starting it, having the sighting, and then triggered memory, and all the stuff that's happened in the last year. It's like it's only been 1 year since like all this stuff has happened in 1 year, and It makes me. I'm excited to see what happens in the future, man. What my journey has in store.
What's interesting to what Julio was saying too, but it's interesting you're saying that, but maybe not. You know what I mean? I mean, if I think of all the things that I've spent my time on and energy on, what's the one thing that I know that's absolutely true in all this journey, the truther journey and my religious journey, I know one thing is certain is Sasquatch is real. I don't even I know that. Most stuff require an immense amount of faith. I know they're real. So, I mean, and that has led to more being grounded in reality than when I was in my books. And I still read my books, and I still read them out loud online and live. But what I'm saying is, there is, if those books don't eventually lead to the absolute truth, not what you assume to be, or getting close to at least the truth, they're pretty worthless.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I don't see my experiences with the Sasquatch and the spirit realm as negative. I think them as positive things. Now, at the time, they're very
Shocking.
shocking as freaking hell is what they are. But you know what I mean? But they also are great moments of learning, and which changed me drastically. And I know that most people, all the old people in my life are no longer in my life because of it. I didn't even ask it. They chose it. They chose not to accept the truth. And they find that people like me,
Maybe
you,
they needed to go. They needed to be. Basically, Sasquatch did that for you to get them out of your life. These people that they weren't for you. They weren't. If they were, they'd still be there for you, right? Like, Sasquatch is like, enough of this, man. Enough of this.
right.
Here.
So
Now you talk about me and everybody disappears. All the fakes.
That's all it took. That's all it took. I didn't threaten anybody. Here's another thing too in my studies too, like when the Bible, because part of my book is talking about angels and spiritual beings, right? And because most people have a very delusional idea of what an angel is, right? An angel of Yahweh, a God, or whatever. Just don't worry about the God or whatever. If you look at these ancient texts, what's the one thing that happens over and over and over again to these people? Really bad things happen.
Yeah.
So my point in that is to bring it up, and I challenge you to read the Bible again now and look at all the verses that talk about angels and what actually happened to those people involved with those angels. Like Sodom and Gomorrah, the whole city and the whole plain was wiped out, and his dudes wiped, or Job and everything in his life was destroyed, and on it goes. And so what my point is that it's just because we're reading a book and the high priest of whatever delusion they're peddling today does not mean that that's the truth. Just like they try to demonize Sasquatch, and all you hear over and over again is scary stories. You never hear this side of the story. And if you do, then you're being accused of being woo, or you guys taking it too far. And everyone would say, I want to stick with the hardcore physical scientific evidence. Good luck in this, then having that, because that's not how this part of our life works. It isn't. And this is much more in line with quantum physics and the mysteries of the universe and the spirit realms and multiple parallels. And we're just now getting introduced once again what our ancestors knew all along. So I guess I'm sorry for my rant here, but no, I'm not sorry. What I'm trying to say is that nothing appears as it seems. And every time you peel back a layer of it and of the deception that's around you, you realize that most of what the average people believe to be, or the majority believe, is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to teach you this stuff? How do we know that Bigfoot itself is not a form of some angelic being that's in the positive? I mean, and I'm serious, I'm sorry to preach about this.
Hey, man, that thought has crossed my mind a million times.
Because we talk about the angels in the Bible, He talks about these strange shape-shifting beings that one moment look like a man, next look like an ox, next look like an eagle, next look like this, that, and the other. And I'm saying, hey, listen, maybe what's going on here is that we've been introduced to some kind of ultra-dimensional being of the religion hijacked and called angels. And it's nothing negative at all. That maybe the negativity was the fact that we were absolutely freaking lied to about all this stuff and misinformed, at least at the bare minimum, and that it's us and our own personal shamanic journey to come to this realization, this truth. It's bizarre as it sounds, and I'm not trying to be. One of the guys from Pork and Beans, who interviewed me 6 years ago, said, "You know what? You seem like an ambassador for Bigfoot." And I'm like, well, and I laughed about it. I thought it was a big joke back then, and I was absurd. But I'm looking now, I'm like,
funny how he said that, eh? Funny how he said that. Of course you are, man. Look what you do. Look what we talk about. We all are.
Well, right.
People like us,
no,
they speak on behalf of Sasquatch.
Is that it's a positive, maybe it's a positive part of our reality.
For sure.
Instead of, but what they've done is they've got us in this silly, and it's part of mind control. It clearly is. It's part of their desires to hide some of the power that you have, and what is, they'll tell you that the argument it first starts out with whether they're real or not, right? Do you believe in it or not, right? And then if you actually end up having counter or get to the point of believing, then is it flesh and blood, or is it woo stuff, something, mystical or supernatural? And then as more and more you go on this journey, you realize it's all that stuff. I mean, I want to bring up something that's important with you is about Sonny Vader, which is he's one hell of a hoaxer, and he's taught. I was thinking about this, and I was like, I want to share my gratitude for Sonny Vader and people like him who fake this stuff and pretend to be Bigfoot and put on the costumes and throw the logs and do all that, because they're teaching us something about ourselves, about myself at least, and that is how easy and gullible I can be, and how hey, how's it going, Mike? I haven't seen you. It's good to see you. So it proved to me how gullible I am, right? That I can just accept something at face value without doing a little bit of work myself, and also how easily it can be fooled. And whether his intentions are nefarious or not, the fact of the matter is you can learn from that what he's doing. You know what I mean? So the next time you watch these videos, these images, you go, what are the odds? Now, if it's Bigfoot, Sasquatch is something that's more like interdimensional, can phase in and out of dimensions, something ultra dimensional, something spiritual. Hey, Mike, it's really good to see you. I'm so glad you're with us tonight, man. By the way,
who do we got in the building? Which Mike are we talking about?
It's this MT Mike of MT Paranormal.
Oh, what's up,
Mike.
MT? How you doing, man?
I think that Mike is actually he's done some really positive work when it comes.
Oh,
to
yeah, I've seen lots of his stuff. I haven't seen anything lately, but a couple months back I was watching quite a bit of his stuff. Very good stuff.
I want to talk to him again to see what he's up to lately, because I haven't been talking in about 6 months. Because you know what, I think he's doing a valuable service for us in the research of this, whether it's Sasquatch or the spiritual realm and interdimensionals and the force, because he's helped prove my point and what other people have been saying for a long time, that there's a lot going on in the forest and those trees. There's strong connection, spirit realm. You know what I mean? And it's not something to be afraid of. If our ancestors have dealt with this stuff for thousands of years, then there's probably, and then you think about what religion has done and all this, to hijack that truth and compartmentalize it and put it in a box and pigeonhole as all being negative. Well, maybe it's actually the complete opposite. Maybe our interaction with our regional familiar, our own, guiding spirits, actually, maybe it's actually a positive thing, and that's the reason why they spend so much time demonizing it. Now,
for sure, that's what I believe. I believe that definitely. There's a reason why they want us to be scared of these beings, why they pump that fear, you know. It's they want us to believe the opposite of the truth, right?
Oh, absolutely, because that's as weak as you, and it takes away a lot of your sovereignty and your personal power, right? Um, and they want you to live in fear and say, "Oh my gosh, it's the end of the world." You know what I mean? But is it the end of the world? I just listen. You just got
Cool. I'll check that out.
cool.
Yeah, I'll check that out after the live.
Um, the bears, lions, and and let's remember, you know, when we say these stuff of either demonic or is it because they're ugly? They're weird looking because somebody told us through Hollywood and everything else that because they look hideous and ugly to us, that how much of it is that's brainwashing? I argue that the strongly supports the latter, that we've been brainwashed in thinking that these things are all negative to in our lives. But in reality, we have a rich history from all cultures throughout the world that there was the positive side of life here. I didn't say to turn everyone into be angels. I mean, that's not far from it, right? I mean, there's still always going to be, you know, people choosing to do horrendous things. You know, I mean, we can build pyramids and we can cross, you know, genocide. So, but it's up to you how you want to take it.
Yes,
It was a
sir.
good time. I captured some good evidence and so good, man. I'm glad, man.
Definitely check that out after the live.
So I think we've done a good job here, bro.
I think so too.
And
In an hour and a half, 2 hours and 2.5 hours.
Unless somebody wants to join us in the live, it's probably good. It's time to.
I think it's a good
All the
time because I need to get to bed. It's 9:30. I got to get up early for work stuff for myself at least.
Yeah, but remember, you hear these reports about Sasquatch doing that, but how many people actually in your own life or in this today that they actually go through that?
Yeah, I shared my whole journey here. Basically, what happened, the sighting a year ago. Sasquatch has brought me my woman, man. Like my whole journey, I laid it out. So if you're into hearing my journey, watch this video again, replay it, check it out. You'll hear my entire story.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, and he's the reason why he's even doing this is because of him as well. So he's a bro, and he's been helping out with me and things too, just by just being in my life, not even preaching, just being in my life. But you know, so once again, Sasquatch.Confessions. I don't. Maybe we were supposed to have another guest, but something happened. I know he knows how to get in here because he got in here the other day and live, right? So I don't know. Maybe he just forgot. It's all right. So it'll be another night, and then maybe things go well. If it's synchronicity chooses to be oh God, Frank, Hollow Frank. And Hollow Frank, he's had his own personal encounter with Sasquatch and also an amazing, bizarrely amazing encounter with an angel and how it ended up saving his life. And there's some tragedy involved in all this too. As usual, as I told you, I brought it up earlier, that when you read those holy texts, there's something negative happens when these angels, is like what I call them, show up. And so beware about when you see things, but that you really study and research before you make a final decision about this kind of stuff. But if that it turns out, that would be a bizarrely interesting conversation because Hollow is.
I'll join in with Holo or any of these guys jump in. I'll join in again for sure if I'm around. I'd love to chat it up.
I would love if Mike ever is interested because I feel Mike that has a lot to offer and to join me on the show as well and talk about his latest research and experiences and what he's filmed and what he's recorded and with the you know, the spirits, poltergeist, and all the other things that are going on in the forest. And I might as well. There's a couple other people in the works as well, but I'm gonna be talking to a lot of different people about different things that all I feel are connected.
Welcome, Prince.
Are not solely just about Bigfoot or you know you know, the supernatural or interdimensions or the spiritual realms, right? Because there's a lot of things that's all connected, right? It's like a giant web, like our ancestors said. Like we live like in a giant web, and every little thing that happens causes a ripple throughout that web. And I think it'd be interesting. So to talk to a lot more other people, but I also need to work on that book as well while reading. And anyways, man, it's been great. Sasquatch.Confessions, and then there's the look up the Squatch Gang on Facebook.
Let me just say it.
That'd be great, Mike, if you do. That'd mean a lot to me.
Sasquatch Confessions on YouTube, Facebook. Check us out there. TikTok. You can check out Sasquatch Seekers on YouTube and TikTok. You can also check out Ken SGBC. That stands for Ken Squatch Gang, British Columbia. So Ken SGBC on YouTube. These are members of Squatch Gang. You guys can see our videos. We go out and we do our thing.
Right. And
So,
Julio has his own experiences, and I agree with you. There's although I do appreciate what Mike's doing. Those guys, they're doing the real thing, at least at night, and not just trying to entertain people. So, but I think you can have experiences day or night. So, from my observation, my own personal experience, you can have experiences day or night. So, I don't think they're subject as much as people think they are to the clock as we are. But there's a lot of factors involved. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I soon should be posting my reading of Masters of Deceit by Jacques Vallée. I'm starting a new reading of this one from John Keel, who's fantastic. Strange Creatures from Time and Space, and he's like been talking about all these different these anomalous Fortean type experiences that have happened throughout the hundreds of years that we have records of it, and different aspects to it. And it's not all negative and it's not all positive, and it's a mixed bag, you know what I mean? But it's part of our reality. And to me, that sounds more interesting to follow and live in that than it is to just always be in a fantasy. So have I got everyone here? So Julio, thank you for joining. Prince, Arcane, thank you for joining. Everyone else who joined, and those who will listen. Remember, Sasquatch Confessions is a safe place to hang out, to talk about your experiences. It doesn't even have to be solely about Sasquatch. A lot of people talk about other experiences they have.
Everything.
Yeah, John Keel's is brilliant, man. And so it really gets you wets your whistle about what's really going on there. So with that, I am going to end the show, folks. Is it okay if I close it out with music?
Squatch out, baby.
Squatch up, bro. And remember, I don't know Squatch.
Jack Squatch.
Jack Squatch about one thing. Squatch is real. 100%.
Squatch out, brother.
Squatch out, man. Here we go.